Hello, everyone. This is Dr. Mike Chua, physical therapist, certified dementia practitioner, and your alternative career coach. Welcome to our career healthcare podcast and show, where we talk about different ways to find your alternative career and achieve both work and financial freedom. So visit our website, drmikechua.com or alternativehealthcarecareers.com for more information. Again, thank you for watching and listening. Welcome to our show. Be awesome, be great, be excellent, ACG. Have a great day and enjoy the show. Bye-bye.
All right, we are live. Good morning, ACG. This is Bert. I'm your host for today's live interview with Trevor Larsen. Trevor, can you hear me?
I can.
Okay. So let me see if we can set this to where the video is going to split. But looks like it's not splitting. We're gonna go ahead anyways. Let's see here. Okay. All right. So today's interview is about Trevor's journey in start. Hold on. There's a lag there. Hold on. Okay, Trevor, can you hear me?
I can. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yeah. So tell us a little bit about your story, how you started your home health contract business, how you found me. Yeah.
Yeah. So my name's Trevor. For those of you who don't know, I'm a physical therapist in the Boston area. I graduated from Northeastern University in 2017 and joined SSPT Live, Greg Todd's coaching Facebook group in the beginning of 2019. From there, I got linked up with Bert, and I saw his ad on Facebook and checked out the webinar, the 4 videos that he has on his website. And this was back in April of 2019. And from there, I had the idea of doing it, but I guess I didn't have the guts or the drive to do it. And then I was basically being an entrepreneur for the next 6 months, 4 to 6 months, until I finally decided that this was something that I wanted to do. So I reached out to Bert and he invited me to the class, and I took the class in September of last year. So went flying through the modules. They were really good. They helped me get the foundation for what a home health contracting company was like. The reason why I wanted to do it, there's 3 main reasons. Right now, my income is capped as a PT because there's only one of me, and there's more patients to see than there are of me. So I want to create a business to help those patients get the care that they needed in the community that I live in. The second reason is I want to provide jobs for my therapists, so be a job creator instead of just a job consumer. And then the last is I want to have a better income for myself, my girlfriend, my future family, and home health contracting seemed like the right avenue for me. And I've also had an interest in sales and business for a while. I did some sales in undergrad, selling insurance, and I was a rental real estate agent in grad school. So I've always had that entrepreneurial spirit, and it just made sense what Bert was saying and what he does with his home health contracting company. So that's a little background about me and where I came from. So the journey for me started in April, kind of really took off in September.
So Trevor, let's go ahead and then continue. You still there?
I'm still here.
All right. So this is very informal. We're just gonna talk like, having a cup of coffee, actually having a bottle of water. So
Likewise.
Tell us right now, how many contracts do you have and how many therapists do you have?
So right now I have 3 contracts that are signed. One was that I had through the fall, and I was doing personal visits. And these next 2 I'm awaiting referrals. I just signed them last week and the week before. One of them seems like the big tuna. So they have a ton of referrals coming in. So I'm excited to get going with them. And they're going to service my staff of 6, including me. There's 2 PTs, including myself. I have 2 PTAs, 1 OT, and 1 CODA. So I'm looking to get them filled up really as soon as possible. And yeah, so I started doing visits throughout the fall myself, and then quickly realized that I needed to scale by taking myself out of the business, out of the treating patients, and going ahead and getting more agencies and more therapists to grow the business. So right now I feel like I'm at a point where I can start really filling up therapists with their schedule and keep them happy and get them work so that everyone's happy in terms of agencies getting their patients serviced, therapists servicing patients, and then me taking care of the business and making sure everything runs smoothly. Is it lagging again?
Yep.
Yes, it's lagging.
Yeah, a little bit, but we're gonna go through it. So,
Okay.
it is what it is. So
It is what it is.
So, what do you call this? Do you mind sharing the numbers? How much are you charging this home health?
Yep. So right now it varies on the agency, but I'm charging 90 to 95 an eval for OT and PT. That also includes research and discharges, and anywhere from 70 to 80 for a visit. So the agency that's given me a lot of referrals, I negotiated 80 for a visit, which is better than the 70 with my original one. So I've definitely gotten better on the negotiating side as I've progressed throughout the business and learned what it takes to negotiate and get the best rate for my business. It's odd with the lag here.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. So, how wide of an area are you covering?
Yeah, so I'm in the Boston area. It's about a 20-mile radius around Boston. So I would say roughly 20, anywhere 10 to 20 miles north or south, east or west, because Boston's on the East Coast. So northwest or south of Boston, and always looking to expand. I've learned that it's not good to tell an agency that you can't cover somewhere. You just say either you're working on coverage or you can cover it, or you're working hard to get coverage in those areas, because you don't want to tell an agency, no, we can't service your patients, because then they're likely to move on to the next person. So that was a little tidbit I got along the way.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, for those of you listening, one of the tips I can give you if you're into home health contracting is whenever an agency gives you a referral and they ask you, hey, can you cover this area? Ask them how fast do they need it? How or when do they need that area or that referral covered? So what you can do is once they give you, oh, we can wait till maybe 24 hours or 48 hours. What you can do is tell the agency, I tell you what, give me some time, I'll make some calls. So look for that zip code, look for therapists in that area. And then once you find some therapists, then you can get back to the agency and tell them, yeah, we can cover the area, I'll take the referral. But the worst thing that you can do is get a referral, say yes, before you find a therapist, because if you can't find a therapist, then what's going to happen is you will leave the agency hanging, and that's not good. That's going to kill your business when you bite more than what you can chew. Okay, so don't do that. Make sure you have coverage before you accept a referral. I'd rather say no to a referral than say yes and then leave an agency hanging. Does that make sense?
Definitely.
Okay, so everybody wants to hear about PDGM, right? Everybody's questioning. Okay, with this PDGM, we have a lot of therapists that lost their job. We have a lot of therapists that um, have their hours decreased. A lot of therapists who are scrambling for work right now, right? So I want to address that since this is my cup of tea, home health. There's a lot of agencies out there, unfortunately, who are, I would say, money oriented and not patient oriented. Okay, so they just look at the bottom line, and honestly, lately they've been making us feel like we're useless as therapists because of this PDGM, right? They even use the words, oh, we don't need therapists because we don't use you for reimbursements. We don't use you for we don't need you to get reimbursed, right? So these are agencies who um, are basically just thinking of the bottom line, and they think they can get away with it. But the thing is, it will bite them in the butt eventually, because once Medicare finds out that they're not utilizing therapists enough and they're getting all the money, once they get audited, and believe me, they will get audited, this PDGM will trigger a lot of audit, especially when they're pocketing all the money and their utilization shows that they're not using any therapy. Then Medicare will start thinking, okay, if you can get by without therapy and we're paying you all this money, then why are we paying you all this money? Okay, that can trigger another reduction in payments, right? The solution to these guys is educating our patients, educating the seniors. Okay, I guarantee you 99%. Okay, 99% of the seniors don't even know what's happening with PDGM. They don't even know their rights as a patient. They don't even know that most agencies are going to try to cut their therapy benefits because of PDGM so they can pocket the money. Now, I'm not against home health agencies. I still have contracts that are doing what's ethical, what's right for the patient, right? But what I'm trying to say is, as therapists, we can't just sit on the sidelines and let the home health agencies dictate our industry home health industry by, just throwing us the bones that they want to throw us. We can't let that happen. Okay. So as far as my opinion is concerned, we need to educate our seniors. Okay. If we need to go to senior centers, if we need to go to groups or organizations in our city to educate our community what is PDGM and how it affects their therapy benefits, then we need to do that. Okay. We can't just stand in the sidelines and watch what's going to happen. Okay. The problem sometimes is when we just wait for what the agency wants to do with us and we become passive, then that's a big problem. Okay. We need to be proactive. Okay. We need to tell these patients, look, this is how PDGM works. And for those of you who don't know, PDGM is budget neutral, meaning the budget for our patients did not decrease. The only change was how it's distributed. Okay. And let me tell you a quick summary on how it's distributed. Okay. And this is just for discussion. Let's say a total knee replacement had a budget, for example, of $5,000. Okay. Prior to PDGM, which was last year, you will get $5,000 for 60 days. Okay. Now, this is just an example again. Okay. This is not the actual number. So let's say total knee replacement gets $5,000. Prior to PDGM, that $5,000 is good for 60 days. Okay. And last year, home health agencies will get about 60% upfront of that $5,000 by submitting a RAP, RAP, or request for advance payment. Okay. So 60% of 5,000 last year is what? $3,000, right? And then they will get the remaining 2,000 by the end of the 60-day episode. Okay. Now, with PDGM effective January 1st, that 5,000 budget did not change, but the episode was now cut in half. Instead of 60 days, you now have a 30-day episode. So what's going to happen? That 5,000, the number we're using in our example, will now be cut in half. So 5,000 divided by 2, you're now at 2,500 for 30 days. Okay. And it used to be, like I said, last year, where agencies get 60% upfront advance payment. Now they're only going to get 20%. So what's the 20% of 2,500? $500. Okay. This is why a lot of small home health agencies are closing, because they don't have the money from their capital or operating budget to operate upfront. Okay. If they don't have the bandwidth, then they're going to close. They don't have the money to pay staff. This is why they're letting go of therapists. Okay. However, this does not mean that the budget changed. Okay. 20% of 2,500 is $500. The remaining 80%, which is $2,000, will be paid at the end of the 30 days. And if you need to extend another 30 days, you get the other 25%. $2,500. Okay. Remember our example, 60 days, $5,000. With PDGM, you have 30 days, 2,500, 20% upfront, as opposed to 60%. So it's budget neutral. It just changed the way it's allocated. So who's going to survive? The agencies that are going to survive are the ones with money. Okay, they have money up front to continue operation. However, they're trying to save further budget by eliminating or reducing in-house therapists. That way, they can keep more of the money. Okay, because in-house therapists cost more than a contract therapist. You have to pay benefits, you have to pay your insurance, holiday pay, benefits, right? So this is why more contract therapists are going to be used by home health agencies as opposed to in-house therapists. Okay. But then, like I said, you're going to run into home health agencies that are going to try to eliminate therapy. And how do you fight back? How do you counter that as therapists? You have to be proactive. You have to educate the community. You have to educate the senior citizens in your area of their right to have therapy as long as there's medical necessity. Okay. I'm not saying that this is a right that they have to have therapy even if they don't need it. Okay. What I'm saying is, as long as there's medical necessity, they have the right to receive that. Okay. So now, how are you going to educate existing patients that you're currently treating them, right? And then the agency tells you, Trevor, you can only give 4 visits. That's it, right? They try to dictate you. How are you going to handle that? Okay. You have to educate your patients by telling them, look, I think you need more therapy. And if there's medical necessity, you educate them by telling them you need to talk to your doctor, get a prescription for further therapy. And then that prescription has to go to the agency. And with the doctor's prescription, the agency now has to follow that prescription. Does that make sense? Now, if the doctor is not cooperating, or the patient is not satisfied with the doctor's reply of, that you're fine, you don't need any more therapy, or if the agency is not cooperating and they're not fulfilling or they're not honoring the prescription for therapy, what you can do is tell the patient, look, this folder from the agency has the Medicare hotline number. This Medicare hotline number is your contact number for Medicare if you have any complaints about this agency. Okay? If you don't feel like you're getting the right amount of therapy or service that you're getting from the agency, then you need to call the Medicare hotline number. And you know what it will do? It will trigger an audit. Okay? The agency will be audited for not doing the right amount of, or giving the right amount of therapy, or they will at least be audited if they're following, the doctor's order. Okay. Now you might create enemies, right? You might create enemies with the home health agencies for doing this, but you know what? I hate to break it to you. We are on war right now. We are on war fighting for the necessity of our services, the value of therapists. We are on war against fraudulent home health agencies. Okay. I'm not saying all home health agencies are fraudulent, but we are on war against these agencies trying to dictate our industry by saying, oh, we don't need therapy right now. You're useless. We'll get the money anyways, even if we don't use you. It's time to wage war. And how do you win this war? By educating your patients, educating your community. You cannot be passive. All right. So that's just my opinion. If you don't want to go to war and do nothing and just sit on the side and feel sorry for yourself and have a self-pity party, that's your choice. But I'm not going to do that. I'm going to fight for our patients. I'm going to fight for the right of the seniors and let them know you have the right to receive therapy if you need it, if there's medical necessity, because it's part of your budget. Okay? It's part of your budget. The only reason these home health agencies exist is because of our seniors. No seniors, no home health agencies. Okay? We have to educate them, guys. All right? I don't care if Medicare changes their reimbursement or the way they distribute money. Our seniors are not going to go anywhere. Okay? I don't care if home health agencies are going to say, oh, we have to let go of therapists. We're going to fire therapists left and right. You cannot fire our patients. Our patients need our services as therapists. Our seniors are not getting lesser and lesser. If anything, if you don't know, there's 10 million senior citizens, 10,000 baby boomers. 10,000 baby boomers every single day. You can Google it. Okay? Our seniors need our help. If we don't fight for our seniors, if we don't educate them, guess what? They are the victims in this change that's happening right now. Okay? And who's going to fight for our seniors? Who's going to let them know about their rights to receive the therapy that they need or the rehab that they need? Us. That's us. If you have to create brochures, if you have to come up with free in-service, if you have to come up with community meetings, what do you call those term they use in campaign, like town talks, okay? If you have to come up with that to educate our seniors, then do it. All right? Sorry, I went through a rant right there, but guys, I'm so fired up about this thing. I want to rally all therapists in the home health industry to please do something about this by educating your patients and not just sit on the sidelines. All right? Okay, Trevor, you still there?
I'm still here. Learned a lot from that, Bert.
Okay. Trevor, do you have any further questions?
Yeah, so going back to growth, what are some tips for controlling growth so that I can service, or my therapist can service the patients and I can get those good outcomes and also keep the agencies happy as well?
Okay, so the question was, what are some tips to control growth and keep the agencies happy as well? Okay. Um, my advice to you, Trevor, is to make sure that you have excellent therapists in your group. Okay. PDGM means patient driven groupings model, which means it's patient driven. So you have to provide good service, you have to provide good value by making sure that your patients are improving in the shortest amount of time possible, but at the same time, um, you're not you're not going to do something that will put the patient at a disadvantage. Okay, to where, okay, that's all we can do. Okay, don't do that. All right. So in other words, again, fight for your patients. If they need therapy, then talk to the home health agency and explain to them why they need more therapy. Okay, and then give them some sort of a deadline. You know what? Maybe after 2 or 3 more visits, we can reach our goal. Okay. Or maybe the patient can transition to outpatient. All right. So as far as your growth, make sure that when you interview your therapists, your staff therapists, make sure that these are reliable therapists. Make sure you vet them, meaning you have to check their background, you have to check their references, and make sure that they do what they're supposed to do. Because the last thing you want is keep hiring and hiring therapists, and before you know it, you have 2 or 3 bad apples in your group, and that's going to kill your business. Okay. So when that happens, it's hard to rebuild your reputation when you have therapists that are really, really bad when it comes to patient care, and therapists who don't have integrity, meaning therapists who just show up 5-10 minutes and then leave and do nothing with the patient. You don't want that. You want to make sure you have quality therapists, and you also want to make sure that your therapists understand what's PDGM. Okay, so you can research PDGM, you can have articles about PDGM, and then educate them about it. And then once you have your quality therapists in your group, you also make sure that you take care of them. Okay, so have maybe a Starbucks meeting every couple of weeks to discuss issues or whatever things they want to discuss, or have lunch or something like that. It's important you keep them engaged. Okay, so if you have 5 or 10 PRN therapists, don't just focus on giving a majority of your patients to, let's say, with 10 therapists in your staff. Don't neglect 2 therapists and just use the 8. Okay, try to keep everyone engaged, even with just 1 or 2 patients, and to make sure that you can see their quality of work. Okay, do follow-ups, call the patients and ask the patients if they're happy with the treatment, if they're happy with their progress, if there's anything that they suggest the therapist would do for them. So be proactive when it comes to that. All right. So and also make sure after you get a contract, you keep your engagement with the home health agency. Every now and then, maybe every 2 weeks or once a month, continue to bring goodies, box of cookies or a tray of cookies or box of donuts. There's this saying in the business world, out of sight, out of mind. Okay. So if they don't see you, sometimes you're out of mind. So just kind of peek your head in there and say hi and show yourself and say, hey, anything you guys need, anything I can do for you. If they see you proactive, then you're building a good relationship. You continue to build that good rapport with your contract agency clients. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Those are some good nuggets there, Bert. Thank you.
Okay, great. So anything else you want to discuss, Trevor, or we can open the comment section for any questions?
Yeah, any questions is good. That's all I got on my end.
Okay. Guys, if you joined us, feel free to write your questions in the comment box. I'm going to type in here, questions welcome. and let me know what your questions are. Okay, so while we're waiting for some questions to come in, I guess we can discuss what other techniques or what are the topics that are frequently asked from me as far as home health contract business. Okay. One of the things that I get asked a lot is this: Hey, Bert, do you think a home health contract business is still a viable business? Okay. And my answer to that is yes. Okay. It's a viable business because, like I said, our seniors are not going to go anywhere. Okay. Where do you think the seniors are going? Who do you think is going to do their therapy? Who do you think is going to help them improve functionally? The home care aides, the nurses? I don't think so. It's us. Okay. So, and if you don't know how PDGM works, agencies are going to get, what do you call this? Increase in reimbursement if the functional improvement of the patient shows in their submission of reimbursement. Okay. The FIM, once it's submitted, it affects the reimbursement. Okay. So worst case scenario is for a home health agency to have a patient that declined functionally and went back to the hospital, and then, Medicare will question, why did this patient go back to the hospital? They will now review the chart and see if this patient received any rehab, any therapy. If that patient did not receive any rehab and they went back to the hospital, guess what? That's a point or a demerit against the home health agency, and they can now fall into what you call a preferred provider list. Okay. So, all right. Another question. We have a question here from Joel. Hey, Bert, how do you deal with delayed or non-paying home health agency clients? This is a very good question, Joel, and I get this a lot. So in the home health contracting world, the number one problem is not getting paid on time, right? Believe me, I've had my shares of those, okay? When I was first starting, there was an agency who didn't pay me $21,000. Guys, $21,000. That's a lot of money. And I had to use a lawyer. I had to meet with this other agency owner, and they ended up settling for just $5,000. Okay. From $21,000, I only got $5,000. So I lost how much? $16,000, right? This was in my early years of doing business. No one was coaching me. No one was telling me how to do business. No one was helping me or mentoring me how to avoid this scenario. Okay. I call it the $16,000 tuition fee, okay, for learning that lesson. And I told myself that will never happen again. Okay. I will never allow that to happen again. Let me tell you first how I came into that situation. What led to $21,000 of not getting paid. Okay. And this can probably save you guys a lot of money and a lot of time if you are already an existing home health contractor. The reason that $21,000 piled up is because I was so focused on getting referrals, without focusing on the cash flow. Okay. We have this saying in the business world, cash flow is king. If you neglect cash flow, okay, then there's a huge chance you're going to lose your business. Okay. You cannot neglect cash flow. And what do I mean by that? You have to look at your invoices. You have to do your invoices on time. You cannot be just focusing on patient care, referrals coming in without doing the invoice on a weekly basis. You have to do it on a weekly basis, guys. Okay. That way, your invoices are continuous. Okay. This is why this was probably year 2006. I started in 2003. This is why 21,000 piled up, because I was so consumed with the referrals coming in. You can't do that. Okay. So this is why I tell the colleagues that I mentor, learn from my mistakes, learn from the hard lessons I've learned in doing this business. Do not let your invoices pile up. Okay. Now, how do you make sure that that doesn't happen? Okay. I have this rule, what I call a 2-invoice litmus test, or 2-invoice rule. Okay. If you have 2 invoices that are late and have not been paid, you better stop taking referrals. Okay. You better stop taking referrals. Now, if you feel like, wait, if I stop taking referrals, then they might not send me patients anymore, right? So it's like a catch-22, right? I tell you what, I'd rather not get further referrals than see these invoices piling up, not getting paid, okay? Because if you have invoices that are not getting paid, then guess what? You don't have a customer. You have a borrower, okay? The agency becomes a borrower, and you're basically letting them borrow your services free of interest. You can't do that, okay? You have to explain to them, look, guys, tell the owner, Mrs. So-and-so, whatever their name is, I have 2 invoices that have not been paid, and I pay my staff every 2 weeks. I need these invoices paid before I can accept further referrals. Otherwise, if I keep accepting your referrals, then I wouldn't have the cash flow to pay my staff, and we can't service your patients. Okay. Now, if they keep promising you, oh, come back on this day, oh, we'll pay you this day, the money or the check is in the mail, and it's not happening, that's a red flag. Okay. You have to stand your ground. You, as a business owner, you are the captain of the ship. You cannot blame anyone for the failure of your business. You are the captain. All right. You're steering the ship, your business. Okay. If you allow that to happen, that's on you. And guess what? You cannot tell your staff, oh, I can't pay you this Friday because I haven't been paid yet. You can't do that. You're going to lose your staff, and you're going to lower their morale. And what's going to happen is they're not going to want to see patients for you anymore. Right? And what's the problem with that? If that thing happens, it's because of your leadership. Okay? It falls back on your leadership as the owner of your business. You are the leader of your group. You are the leader of your business. You have to stand your ground by making sure you're getting paid on time. Okay? If you have an agency that's not paying on time, find another agency. Okay? Get your money and get out of there. Okay? All right. Good question, by the way. Another question from Dorinda Miller. Hi, I see several PTs involved in successful ownership of this type of business. Any SLPs as successful owners as well? Thanks. All right, Dorinda. That's a very good question. Actually, one of my top students that I mentored is an SLP. Her name is Tina Degg from Houston. Okay. Tina used to work for a school setting. Okay. And so she found me, and then she approached me and asked me, hey, Bert, can this work for an SLP? And I told her, of course, you're a therapist. If you're an SLP, what you're going to do is basically outsource PT, PTA, and OT and CODA. Okay. So Tina was working full-time at a school setting. In a matter of 8 months, she quit her job because she was doing well in the Houston area. Okay. She started her business, and she now has a lot of contracts. And as a matter of fact, she just did a post. Her and her husband just went to what do you call this, mini honeymoon extension, I guess, or vacation. They went to Sinaloa, Mexico, where they went fishing. I was so jealous. They caught a huge sailfish. So to answer your question, Dorinda, yes. And if you want to talk to me, just send me a private message or PM me, and I'll talk to you. We'll jump on a phone call, and I'll answer your questions if you have further questions for me. Okay? All right. Any other questions, guys? Any questions? All right. One thing, as far as SLP, I want to clarify something. You cannot use SLPA. You cannot use assistants in the geriatric setting. You can only use SLPA on pediatric settings, right? But I don't do peds. The model of my contract business is for geriatrics, okay? Pediatric home health is a whole different business model because it's usually funded by the state. And if the state is funding it, then it's usually more of a Medicaid thing, okay? And Medicaid, as you know it, is always based on the budget per state. It's not federal, okay? The other question I get, okay, so if it's state level, can I contract with peds or pediatric home health? The answer is yes, if you want to do that. Just make sure you have enough margin or profit to do that, okay? So for example, if the pediatric home health pays $80 per session, how much are you going to pay your assistants? If you pay them $40 or $45, then you're looking at, $40 or $35 profit margin. That's not bad at all, okay? Even at $50, when you get $80 per session and you're paying your assistants $50, you still get $30. That's still pretty good, okay? The only thing with that is you have to find therapists that want to do peds, because the challenge with pediatric home health therapy is you have to see them late. Usually, when they come home from school, or the parent is not available and the parent wants to be there, of course, because this is a minor. Okay, so you have to kind of coordinate that schedule. And if everybody wants to be seen after 5, how many kids can you see after 5? Okay. You can't spread it out to where you can see kids in the morning, afternoon, and after 5. Maybe you can. I don't know. It's not my forte. It's not my cup of tea. I've never done pediatric contracting. Okay. All right. So we got more questions coming in. Another question is, do you do Med B at home? Is it correct that assistants are not allowed to see Med B patients at home? Or if not, is there any way that assistants can follow Med B patients in the home? Okay. All right. Very good question. So let me clarify this thing. With home health contracting, it's Medicare Part A. Okay. It's not Part B. Home health contracting that I'm doing, that my students are doing, are through home health agencies that are certified by Medicare Part A. Okay. With Medicare Part A, you can use assistants at home, okay, for geriatric patients. Now, there are some private insurance companies that don't want to use assistants. Like one of them is Aetna. I heard Blue Cross Blue Shield don't want to use assistants for home health. They just want to use OTs and PTs, okay? But most home health agencies are Medicare certified, on a federal level, okay? Most home health agencies are going to make money through Medicare. If all they do is private insurance, that's going to be tough on their business, okay? Now, why do they receive, or why do they take patients with private insurance even if they don't pay much? This is why. It's because they can't tell the doctor, hey, doc, can you only give us Medicare patients? That's not going to work, right? If you work with a doctor, or if the agency is working with a doctor for referral source, then the doctor has to send them whatever patients he's got. They can't be picky. Otherwise, the doctor is going to tell them, I can't do that. I can't just send you Medicare patients. That's a no-no, right? So, however, in the home health contracting part, we as therapists, we as contractors, we are not billing Medicare. We are billing the home health agency, okay? We're billing the home health agency on a per diem basis based on the contract that we have, okay? In other words, we don't send billing to Medicare with all these billing codes, ICD-10 codes. We do none of that, okay? We don't deal with denials. The agency does that. We are subcontractors for the home health agencies, okay? However you want to call it, subcontractor, therapy staffing. We're no different from a travel company that sends therapists to different facilities, okay? As far as business model, it's the same. Travel staffing companies make money by sending traveling therapists to different facilities, and then they charge more per hour, and then they make the profit margin from that per hour rate. The big difference is we are local contractors, meaning we don't require 13-week contracts. We don't require a minimum number of hours a week for the home health agencies to give us, okay? So this is a huge advantage. You can use this as a marketing technique. When you go out there to a home health agency and you market yourself, tell them, look, if you hire a therapist from a travel agency, they will require you 30 hours minimum or 3 months minimum to contract with them. With me, since I'm local, my company is local, you only pay us when you need us. You only pay us for the referral that you send to us, okay? So that's a huge advantage. It's pay as you go, okay? Now, let's talk about Med B. Med B at home is a whole different business. Okay. Medicare Part B, you have to be credentialed as a business, and then you have to be credentialed as a clinician. Okay. So I'm not an expert in Med B, but I have a friend, Tony, who's the expert in Med B. I'll be happy to share with you his link. Just PM me and all that, and then we'll talk about it. But with Med B, just to give you a quick overview, Medicare Part B is the same as outpatient, a clinic setting, okay? But if you do it at home, the reason why you cannot use assistants, technically you can, but Medicare Part B in the outpatient setting requires direct supervision, right? So how are you going to do direct supervision for a PTA or CODA at a patient's home? You have to be there side by side with them, and that just doesn't make sense, okay? This is why you cannot use a PTA or a CODA on Medicare Part B mobile setting because of direct supervision. You can only use PTs and OTs and SLPs. Now, how you make money from a PT or OT or SLP and not an assistant is totally up to you. You can do that by profit sharing, doing a percentage because you're providing them a patient, or you can pay them by the hour. If you think you can make more money by paying them by the hour and the reimbursement is going to justify that, that's totally up to you. Okay? All right. Did I answer that question, Joel? Question, Med B? Yeah? Okay. All right. While waiting for further questions, Trevor, you still there?
Yep.
Anything you want to add? Anything you want to discuss further?
Oh, lost the link. 1 sec. Let's see. Anything to discuss further? So do you think it would be a good idea to go to the office to learn the documentation system for the companies so that I can relay it to my therapist?
Okay. That's a good question. Let me answer that. All right. So the question is it a good idea to go to the home health agency and learn their software or learn their system? As a contractor, you have to definitely learn their system. All right. I suggest that you use their software, number one, to save you money, because if you buy a software like WellSky, it's going to cost you a lot of money. Okay. Now, if you use their software, guess what? It's free, and they'll be happy to have you and your team use their software, because now the communication is quicker. They can see what you're doing. They can see when your notes are done. And I actually have a student that I mentor in Illinois, Adrian Espinosa, used to use a different software for his contract therapy business. Okay. And then I told him, look, go to the agencies you're contracting with and ask them if they can add you into their software, which is Kinzer, which is now bought by WellSky, and tell them that you're willing to use their software, you're willing to use the system they have if it makes it easier for their staff. Guess what? The agencies were ecstatic. They were very happy to do that for Adrian, and his referral source tripled. Okay, it tripled. The referrals just kept coming in, because now the office workers in the home health agencies, or the coordinators, can just easily click the referral and then boom, add it to Adrian and his team, and boom, boom, boom. Just like that, you're adding value to the agency by letting them use their software. I mean, by having you use their software as opposed to them learning your software. Okay. Now, if you're getting questions like from your staff, but Trevor, that's too much software to learn. There's too many softwares to learn. And I think it's better if we just use one software, right? So I tell you what, you become more marketable if you know more software. Okay. Mm-hmm. Software is a software. You just know where to click. Eval is eval. SOAP is SOAP. You just need to know where to click. Okay. You just need to know how to start an eval. You just need to know how to start your routine SOAP note. After you learn that, that's it. Your knowledge as a therapist is the same. How you document as a therapist is the same. And hopefully it gets better. That doesn't say the same, right? But you just need to know where to click. Okay. Avoid the resistance of, gosh, I have to learn another software. Don't do that to yourself. Look at it as if, great, I'm going to learn another software. This is going to add to my arsenal. This is going to add to my knowledge of what software I know. Guess what? If you come across a new agency that happens to use the same software, then you can tell them, hey, I know that software. We're using that already with our other contracts. Yep, I know that. Guess what? You're going to look good to this potential client because you already know that software. You see what I'm saying?
I do, yeah.
Does that make sense, Trevor?
Yeah, for sure. For sure. That's a good point. That's a good way, a good reframe too, to look at it as an opportunity to just be more marketable.
Yeah. Great. All right. Any further questions, guys? Okay. So if we don't have any more questions, guys, thank you for joining us today. I'm pretty sure this is probably going to post as a replay here at ACG. If you want to reach me, you can reach me here. You can message me, or you can go to my website, rehabpreneur.com, or you can text me. My text is 972-649-9909. There you go. So thank you again for joining us. Trevor, you're always welcome to reach out to me. We'll talk again. Guys, enjoy your weekend.
Sounds good, Bert. Real quick.
Go ahead.
Last thing. Do you want the viewers to have my information if they need to ask me something?
Yeah, that's fine. You're a member here already. They can reach out to you if they have any questions for you. Guys, Trevor Larsen is a part of ACG. So if you want to reach out to him, feel free to message him. And we'll be happy to talk to you guys.
Great. Thanks for your time, Bert.
All right. Thank you guys for joining us. Have a great weekend. Enjoy your Saturday.
Bye.
Bye.
I hope you enjoyed the show. Check out our website at drmikechua.com or alternativehealthcarecareers.com for more information. Again, ACG, be awesome, be great, be excellent. Thank you, and hope to see you on our next episode. Goodbye.